For those who are new to this, make yourself as comfortable as possible. The thoughts, the bodily sensations, the sounds and other external perceptions appear and disappear on their own, without you in fact having anything to do for this to happen. See that these words are a true description of your experience. And see that it is always the case. That in a sense we are always in meditation. When we feel or believe that we are not in meditation, it is simply because we entertain some thoughts and some sensations in the body. That make us think and seemingly feel that we are something which appears in the picture. In this picture, the elements of which constantly appear and disappear on the screen of your presence, of our presence. Instead of being this invisible screen which never goes away, and out of which effortlessly the entire scene or landscape of the world, of the body and of the mind originates, out of which it originates, we believe to be something appearing on the screen. That requires a special intention, a special make-believe effort. Similar to the little children playing and making the effort to believe that their doll is a real baby or that their gun is a real gun, so that they can keep playing. But this effort to believe is not given a priori. It has not always been there. It won't always be there, and most importantly, it is not always present. There are many moments when it is not present. When we are happy and burden-free, unknowingly from the mind, spontaneously. When we smile, when we laugh, when we love, when we contemplate. When we hear this truth, when the words correspond exactly to our experience and we say, yes, that's true. Meditation instructions, guided meditations, these are kind of impossible. Because there is the assumption there then that there is something to do. Summarized by the word to meditate. Meditation begins with the realization that there is no meditator. That the so-called meditator is simply an impermanent appearance on the screen of awareness. He or she is there only when we, awareness, think he or she is there. His or her presence is the dream we create. There is no he or she there, only the belief that there is one. See what happens when you hear these words. Because I have really said nothing. Nothing new. Nothing mysterious. Nothing that cannot be experientially verified, validated. If I speak to you from this place in you recognizes itself. It's a place of direct truth, of direct experience, of certainty beyond any doubt. It knows itself, experiences itself, and suffices to itself. So the path is simple, albeit paradoxical. The first step is to go there. To be able to go there, to find our way there, no matter where we are, no matter where we start from. And then to understand that we are always there. If we fail to see this, then we will make some effort to stay there, having experienced the peace. This effort to stay there will take us out of there. Whereas being there, knowing we are always there, then we are free to do or not to do, to move, to act, to think, to cook, to hang out with friends, to play sports, to work, to interact with people. It doesn't matter. This freedom to move, to act, to think, is called the stabilization process in technical terms. And the way is to follow your heart. Right now you are following your heart by listening to me. You've chosen to do so out of your freedom. By following your heart, you are at the right place. But you don't want to be listening to this old guy for the rest of your life, sitting on your bottom, wherever it is that you are sitting now. To try to keep meditating would be a mistake. Just be certain at every moment that you follow your heart's desire. Sometimes it may be to be sitting in silence, and sometimes your heart is telling you, time to get up, time to go in the world. But all of this, whether to be silent or active, has to come from this experience of your totality, of this absence of worries, absence of lack, out of this deep knowingness that there is nothing outside of you, that there is nothing to be reached, that there is nothing you need. That you are already this complete, transparent reality. now it may happen that through the understanding
I cannot hear you, Francis.
Something froze.
Same here, can't hear.
there was a long silence, but yes, I need to change my battery. You didn't miss anything because I was silent, but I needed to change my battery. So there is a moment when, through the understanding of the words and the thoughts they trigger, we reach a state in which, on that level, on the level of concepts, we are satisfied. But then something in us tells us, well, that's intellectual satisfaction, that's okay, but that's not enough. I am still dissatisfied. And that's when the yoga comes in. And in order to understand how the yoga works, we have to revisit how we have reached this state of intellectual, I put that between quotes, this satisfaction on the conceptual level. We have reached this through understanding, and this understanding is the final stage, if you will, of a thought process in which we contemplate the movement and the progression of our thoughts towards the truth, towards this understanding. And the prerequisite for that process is, of course, our interest, to be interested in understanding. When we seek the understanding, we are open. Because we don't know what the outcome is going to be. If we knew, if we had already reached the understanding, the process that leads to it wouldn't be necessary. So we don't know what the understanding is going to be. And because we don't know, we are open. Also, it is easy to see that the understanding of a thought is not a thought. It can be afterwards formulated as a thought, but the formulation of the understanding is not the understanding. So that which brings about this satisfaction of the mind, this state of satisfaction, is a contemplation of the thoughts, which is completely open, in which we are interested, during which we are interested in the outcome, but we don't project any outcome, and moreover, we know that the outcome of this thinking process is not going to be a thought. It is something else. And somehow, moreover, this something else that we were seeking through this process had to be already present during the thought process that led to it. No matter what it was, we were reflecting upon, no matter which name we gave to the subject of our investigation, whether we call it self or I, or reality, or awareness. These four elements had to be present. Reality is always present. I was present as the thinker of those thoughts. Reality was present. So now we have achieved satisfaction of this level through understanding, which was the discovery of whatever we were seeking. We must have discovered it since we are satisfied on this intellectual, so-called intellectual level. So now, if we take this investigation as a blueprint for that part which remains and in which there is still dissatisfaction, that which needs to be contemplated now, out of interest, is no longer thoughts. We are satisfied there. So only two things remain: bodily sensations and sense perceptions. But we need to be interested. And that's where the problem resides for most of us. We don't really want to go there. Or if we want to go there, we want to go there with a big weapon and kill whatever appears as we go there. Because what is there is too frightening. We don't want to go there. Because we may lose. Our sense of separation. So it seems that we fight for dear life not to go there. So we have, upon hearing my words, to be interested in going there, in allowing for the realm of sensations and perceptions, to tell the rest of the story, so that we can achieve on that level the same satisfaction we have been able to achieve through understanding on the level of thoughts. Resistances will come up. They are analogous on that level to the objections that came up when we were investigating the truth on the intellectual level. Objections such as, well, you say consciousness is universal, but consciousness is created by the brain. That's an objection we were hearing. We had to go through that, to revisit that, to see the value of it, or the lack thereof. Similarly, in the yoga, which is the contemplation of the bodily sensations and of the sense perceptions, we will encounter resistances. Don't go there. I don't want you to go there. If I go there, I die. Or, it's not correct, one shouldn't go there. Or, I'm afraid. I don't want this fear to be exposed. Or I don't want this despair to be exposed. I don't want this absence of happiness to be exposed. Of course, I am formulating these using words. But in this exploration, it is not an exploration, because in an exploration we go somewhere, we move, whereas here everything comes to us. We are simply open. We have really nothing to do. Other than being interested. And it is a natural outcome of the meditation when we sit. If we have achieved satisfaction on the level of thoughts, the thoughts will diminish in intensity very soon. And the landscape will change and will be replaced with a preponderance of bodily sensations and sense perceptions, which, if we are sitting with our eyes closed, will be also greatly reduced. So ultimately it will be a preponderance of bodily sensations, feelings. And the goal is not to change them. That's important. To live with them, to allow for them to be there, to be interested. Whether they evolve or don't evolve is irrelevant. And it's important to have a benchmark there, to have a canary in the cage, so to speak. A detector of ignorance. And this detector is a simple question. What is missing now? What is wrong now? Without going into the past or into the future. And if we want to go into the past or into the future, then we have to ask the question, what is it? Who is it? Who wants to go into the past or into the future? We are beyond the past and the future. All of that appears in us. And we don't go anywhere in time or space. So that's the yoga, really. That's the essence of the yoga, not taking asanas, doing pranayama, and all of that stuff. It's the extension and the continuation of the contemplation from the thoughts to the bodily sensations, but with the same openness, without projecting any goal. Just as the goal of a thought, of the thinking process, was not a thought. The goal of this contemplation of the feelings and bodily sensations is not a feeling or bodily sensation that would all of a sudden or gradually come out of the woodwork. So it begins this yoga with a full acceptance, at least a provisional acceptance of all of your bodily sensations. Without any expectation, projection. So just the way life is presenting itself to itself in this moment. There is nothing wrong with it, other than the belief that there is something wrong. The peace is not in that which is experienced. That which is experienced simply reveals your presence. while we reconvene at 11:30 p.m., which is a.m., which is 7:30 p.m. UK and 8:30 p.m. Continental Europe.